Hey guys, Brant here at Bloody Decks, and what we're going to do here today is I'm going to show you how to make some wind-on leaders. We're using Seaguar Premier. With that, you can pretty much use any hollow braided line. You know, you want to match up the line strength as best you can with the leader material. So I got some hollow Spectra here. You're going to need to get a needle kit, a hollow needle kit, and what these do is it's a needle that has a hollow end here, so you can stick the fluoro leader into that when you're going to feed it up the braided line. Got an emery board, we got our floss, super glue, some cutting tools. Because I'm going to peel off some of this braided line, maybe about 6 feet of it to start. And it's very important that you peel it off this way rather than coming over the top. When you come over the top, it puts a half twist in the braided line and can sometimes be very difficult to get the needle to feed up properly. All right, so I'm going to give myself about 5 feet to start to work with. And then I'm going to do the same with the fluoro material. I'm going to take that and I'm going to peel off about 5-6 feet to start as well. Now I got to pick the right needle to use this, but first what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the very tip of the fluoro at an angle and then hit it lightly with the rough side of the emery. It's going to take off any sharp edges and any burrs. Now I'm going to insert it into the end of the hollow needle and then start working it up the hollow braided line. We got to kind of split this frayed end here. And getting it started sometimes takes a little bit, but typically I just use a couple fingers here to push it from the head of the needle here, and when I do that, it spreads open the braided line a little bit, makes it easier to get this inserted. Typically I'll go 5-6 feet into the braided line with the fluoro. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle gently through the braided line, and as I do this I'm going to hold on to the end of the needle where it connects with the fluoro so that doesn't go in any farther, and I'm going to pull the needle out. End of the fluoro remains inside the braided line, and that's as far up as it's going to go into the braided line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bench tool, and all this is going to do is it's going to give me some tension on the line, hold it in place when I start making my serve. If you don't have a bench tool like this, you can use a couple of clamps, put them between a chair, something. You just want to get some tension on this. So I'm going to get a little bit of tension on this. It'll just make it easier as you're doing your serve. I'm going to take my dental floss, pull a section off about that much and trim it, give it a cut. You can use a braided line, a 30 to 65 pound braided line if you prefer, if you don't have dental floss lying around. And then I'm going to take this other little hitching tool, like this little needle with the clasp on it, and I'm going to insert it between the fluoro and the hollow braid where they connect. I'm just going to run it up about a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to take my floss here and run it back through so now it's between the braided line and the fluoro. I'm going to bring it so it's about even with the end of the connection. All right, now I can start my serve. I'm going to start with 1/2 hitch to keep that locked in place. But as I do it, I'm going to pinch the floss between the braid, otherwise as I secure that sometimes you'll pull it out. So now I made 1/2 hitch, I'm going to throw another 1/2 hitch in there. So now I got 2 1/2 hitches side by side, and now I can start my serve. My serve, I'm just wrapping the floss around the braid and around the fluoro. And as I do this, sometimes it'll creep up, just pull it down flat. And this is really probably the most time-consuming thing on any of these wind-on making techniques. And a lot of times what I'll do is, as I get halfway down there or something, I may throw just a locking 1/2 hitch in there every so often just to get the serve locked down. And I'm going to get it about a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch onto the fluoro, put a 1/2 hitch in it, and then come back over it. And the wraps, when you're coming back over, it can be a little looser if you want. And then I really only need to go about halfway back up it. Finish it with a half hitch and then a 3-turn uni knot. Now that 3-turn uni knot locks this thing down really good. There we have it. I got my serve here. It's got a little bit of fuzz on it sometimes. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit of glue, and you can use a Gucci glue, you can use whatever glue you want. I like typical super glue. Try to move my tools out from underneath in case it spills. I don't wanna have sticky tools. And I just put a little glue on it. And I'll take my fingers. From here, my next step is make the loop in my braided line for the wind on. So I'm gonna peel off about 5 feet of the braid, give it a cut. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the same tool that I used for the floss to make the loop. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go about 6-8 inches from the tag end of the braided line, and I'm gonna insert this tool from the side. I'm gonna come down about almost the length of the tool. 2 inches, start working and poke the tool out. Then I'm gonna take the braided line, loop it over the little hook end of this needle, close the gap, and now I can pull it back through itself. Very gently. And now I'm starting to get this loop coming through the braid, and the braid's doubling over on itself here. It's turning inside out. All right, so it's turning inside out, and now I got a loop end here. So I get rid of this needle, and there we go. We've started the loop, and right now this loop's adjustable. So I can make it bigger, smaller, depending on the size I want to use for my connection. All right? So now what I'm going to do, now that I have the loop made, I'm going to take the tag end of the line and I'm going to bury it back into the main line of the braid. I'm going to take another tool we have here. And it's just a little loop tool here. It's got a loop on the end of it. And it's a needle with just a little loop on the end of it. I'm going to come down the side about a half inch or so down from where the connection is and where the tag end is coming out of the loop. And I'm going to come down and just feed that back down, back towards the fluoro. Once I get down far enough where I think it's going to cover the tag end, I'm going to poke the needle out, and then insert the tag end into the loop of this needle. Once I do that, I'm going to cover it up and just slide it all the way down and pull the needle out, release the tag end, and then with my fingers, I'm going to pull that braided line back down and over the tag end. So now the tag end's completely disappeared. I have a loop on the end here, a very, very no connection essentially. It's just going to be twice the width, even smaller than that of the braided line, and a very, very strong connection. This thing ain't going anywhere. You know, I think with this one, I'm going to do a 25-foot leader. And I'm just going to kind of go best guess. That's about 5 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now I got about a 25-foot leader section. Make a nice, neat coil. It takes a second, but it's worth it in the long run when you're trying to make that connection when you're on a trip. Remainder of the tagging towards the loop, and I'll just do some wraps right around the top here. That, take a zip tie, and just kind of a loose connection with the zip tie makes it easier to cut off, and I'm good to go. All right, so I got a 100-pound completed wind on in just a few minutes. You know, I mean, if I'm concentrating on these, you can usually make these things in, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes once you get good at them. Sitting in front of the TV watching Monday Night Football is always a good place to do it. From there, I'll take my Ziploc. I'm gonna put 100-pound on it, 25 feet. I found this is a good way to store these. You can put multiple in each one. now I'm good to go. I got a Seaguar Fluoro leader, 100 pound, 25 feet. It's gonna be well organized on the boat. And that's it, good to go, done. Now you got a good connection, good wind on, and now you're ready to go fish.